Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to meet with me and fellow Youth Catalyst team members. My name is Diamond Dumas. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm coming to you on occupied Temuco land, also known as Jacksonville, Florida. Today, we have a large set of answers for you, tips, tricks, and all sorts of things as you consider becoming a part of our Youth Catalyst team and Girls Action Board. I'm going to pass it down the road to my colleagues to introduce themselves, and then we'll jump right in. I'll hand it to Maria next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maria. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm currently based in Storrs, Connecticut, although originally from Deltona, Florida. And I am a lead consultant with the Youth Catalyst team and really excited to have the opportunity to share with you guys today. Deja?
Hello. My name is Deja Petway. My pronouns are she, her. I am based out of Detroit, Michigan. I am a training capacity building manager here at Youth Laboratory, and I'm also one of our GAB leads. And I'm just excited to be here in this space with you all and just have more discussion around our Youth Catalyst team and our Girls Action Board. And I don't know, do you want to pass it to our Youth Catalyst team that's in the room?
That sounds good.
All right.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bridget, and I'm really glad to be here. We're really excited to show you some of the content that we presented or prepared for today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kiana Rose. My pronouns are she, her. I am a youth activist based out in Tucson, Arizona, also occupied Tohono O'odham Nation land, and I'm also part of the Youth Catalyst team, and I look forward to seeing what we have presenting today.
Hi folks, I'm Evelyn. I use they, them pronouns based in Greater Boston, Massachusetts, also known as occupied Abenaki land, and I'm really excited to be here with all of you guys in community today.
All right, thank you so much to our team members who have joined us today. We want to get a sense of folks who are in the room. So we have two sets of poll questions for you. The first one is just to gauge the age range or status, I guess, of people in the room. So whether you're a young person or a service provider or someone who works with young people, please let us know by answering this poll. And once we get a good percentage, we'll show everyone who's in the room. All right, perfect. So it looks like a majority of the people here are applicants in the 21 to 24 age range. So happy to answer all your questions, see you today, and hopefully show you how amazing this team is and what a great opportunity it is going to be for those who are interested in applying further. Secondary question is just to figure out geographically where folks are. So got a couple of regions. Feel free to select which one you're located in. Okay, so only by a little, we have Northeast represented the most, but awesome to see some Midwest folks, some Southwest folks, and Northwest folks as well. Thank you so much for launching those polls, Benita, and thank you to Benita for helping get this together in the background. We greatly appreciate all of her efforts. So just to name for you a little bit, I will introduce to you the Youth Catalyst team and share a little bit more about the opportunity. So I want to explicitly state that the Youth Catalyst team is a consultant opportunity, not to be confused with an employment opportunity of part-time or full-time. We'll go further into what that looks like being a consultant, but just so you know, a consultant working with the Youth Catalyst team focuses on creating transformative change in program services and systems for youth experiencing housing instability. We also have programs that are focused around strengthening mentorship programs for older youth, as well as other initiatives that may arise. We are seeking dedicated young leaders such as yourselves between the ages of 18 and 24 who are passionate about using their skills and expertise and experiences to improve programs, services, and systems, ultimately resulting in a stronger environment for youth experiencing housing instability, as well as better outcomes for those young people as well. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Deshamir, to share about the Girls Action Board.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Are we still on this slide, the first button slide? All right, I'm sorry. I didn't even realize my camera was off. Full transparency, I am a mother of two, and one of them, which is currently not feeling too well, and the other one, he is home from school, still off on his holiday break. So if you happen to hear a little yelling or a little laugh or a little playing in my background, just know it's my two little ones being themselves. But yeah, a little bit about my one example. A little bit about our Girls Action Board team. They are also a part of our Youth Catalyst team. They focus more under our OVC grant. And we focus on really addressing the complexity of sex trafficking of minors and the approaches required to properly address prevention and intervention needs, doing excellence when serving Black girls. The same as our Youth Catalyst team, we are looking for or seeking consultant ages 18 to 24 who are emerging and passionate female identified Black leaders. But you will hear more about like what that work looks like, and some of those work examples that we have done over the last last year around some of our projects. So I am going to go to the next slide, and I'm going to actually pass this over to Maria.
Thank you. Wonderful. So today our agenda is really going to look like organizational, team values, then going into the application and interview tips, leadership pathways, consultant commitment and need to knows, member experiences, and Q&A. And then at certain points throughout the presentation, we'll have breaks for Q&A and to get any insights, feedback, and whatnot.
So a little bit about Youth Collaboratory. We are broken up into 3 different focus areas. And I say broken up, but that's not an accurate representation, so apologies there. We are composed of 3 different focus areas: our youth housing justice focus area, our liberation focus area, and our building community focus area. So for youth housing justice, that is focused on coordinated community responses for youth and young adult homelessness and housing instability. The liberation focus area, also a part of our equity focus area, is focused on the prevention and addressing relationship violence, sexual exploitation, and trafficking of young people. And then our building community focus area is about supporting communities for young people to build community with their family, peers, and others to enhance their assets and explore their strengths and while developing lasting connections. So that is how our organization has focused its time, energy, and effort into making impactful change throughout the entire youth services field with the authentic collaboration of youth and young adults. For those of you who are already in this work, you know that this process of ending youth homelessness is not an easy one, and it is not a fast one. And that organizations who are involved in this work, though actively trying to center equity, center young people, and dismantle systems of oppression, still need a lot of work and growth, which is why we bring in young people to help us do that work, and a diverse group of perspectives to help us see the gaps in the work that we are currently doing. So all of that is to say that this presentation is built on transparency and authenticity. Though we do good work, we understand that we are still learning and growing, and that we as a unit are actively seeking equity, liberation, and authentic youth collaboration on a daily basis. We are not perfect at it, and sometimes we are in a position of harm. What that means is that we as a team, the Youth Catalyst team, as staff members, and as a greater youth service field, need to come together in order to uplift the things and name the challenges that we are experiencing externally as well as internally. And though we support youth and young adults, we name these oppression systems, we support one another, we perform restorative practices, we focus on healing, it's still not perfect. So I say that all to you to name that as grand and great as the work is, it's still hard work. And I want those who choose to enter into this space to know that it feels good a lot of the times. And there are also opportunities where it doesn't feel so good. And we're trying to build a way together to work through that. So thank you for that moment of vulnerability and transparency. I say this all to acknowledge and promote safety of young people and their experiences, especially those of us who are in this room with lived expertise. We can go to the next slide, and I think I'm handing it back to Maria to share some application and interview tips.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Diamond. That was wonderful. Beautiful. Thank you. So next, we're going to go into the application along with the interview tips. And I have the application link here. So I'm just going to share that with everyone. So you can also go through while we're speaking or look at it after. And any of my colleagues are welcome to join in at any point, especially if I'm missing anything. So in terms of the application, make sure to read the questions fully and respond to the questions in depth, also to your comfortability. Some of the questions might entail a deeper response or one that may hone in on your lived expertise. And we understand, especially as Diamond was saying earlier, that can be very difficult, challenging, and inspires vulnerability. So again, to your comfortability. And make sure to prepare the letter of recommendation in advance, and that it is attached, preferably in a PDF form. That's usually the most works the best with our system. Be your authentic self. This helps us gauge the team fit and allows you to do the same. So really just show you, all of you. Don't be afraid about whatever that looks like. We are a very diverse, beautiful, and authentic team, and that's something we're all very proud of. So hopefully you will also feel comfortable doing that as well in your application. Ask all the questions that you have, whether it's in this session, by email, in the application. The more the merrier, especially that just already facilitates communication, which is definitely something that's required in this work. Also, don't feel like you have to tell your story. Although again, there might be questions of elements that inspired that lived expertise. Like I said previously, this isn't a storytelling, it doesn't require storytelling or you to have to relive any, traumatic experiences and so forth. So definitely want to emphasize that. Be aware of time zone differences. We're from all over, some of us Eastern Standard Time, Pacific, Central, etc. So when you receive an email or when you apply, again, all of that will vary, and responses will also vary depending on the time zone. Yeah, looks like. So next into the leadership pathways, one of the ways in which you can lead in this space is through skill development. There's a lot of different working opportunities outside of what we call projects. And we will probably elaborate more on that later. I'm not sure. But one of them is presentation, such as facilitating webinars or co-creating different virtual presentations to different audiences. And again, that varies depending on your interest, what you would like to do, your passions, and so forth. As long as with resource development, and these resources can be geared towards local, federal, governmental, all different kind of agencies that are within the sectors and the silos that we work in. And I will pause on this one for the training and technical assistance to hand it over to either Diamond or Deja for more explanation.
Yeah, thank you, Maria. So the training and technical assistance is the one-on-one work that Youth Catalyst team members as well as Youth Collaboratory staff do with local organizations throughout the nation. So as an example, if the Boys and Girls Club is a pretty big organization that a lot of people are familiar with. So if the Boys and Girls Club was trying to start up a youth action board, for example, they can come to Youth Collaboratory and say, hey, we would like all the experts on your team to assist us in establishing a youth action board. In which case we would gauge the interest from our Youth Catalyst team and Girls Action Board to see who would like to work directly one-on-one with the Boys and Girls Club and helping them to establish their Youth Action Board. So technical assistance is just a fancy way of saying one-on-one relationship and community building that helps an organization achieve a broader goal that they may have.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then, oh, sorry, did I interrupt?
No, I was just going to pause there and see if anyone had any questions about anything that we've presented on so far, or anything I just said or that you've said as well. Okay, well, we'll have other opportunities to pause throughout the presentation, and then as well as time at the end. Feel free to put it in the chat if something does come up, or you can, of course, unmute. We are very community focused, so happy to hear your voice.
Yes, definitely. And awesome. And so the next bullet is public speaking. And this could look like, I mean, I don't want to, I don't know, I was going to say in person, so we will see. But as of right now, a lot of these public speaking skills are honed in virtually. However, you know, post the depths of COVID, we will see. So there's also a chance for network building and building social capital. Again, we are a team, like Diamond said, we are community focused. We work together, build each other up, and really uplift each other throughout the processes. So not only can you build relationships within the team, but we're also working on, like I said, different projects with you know, people that are from these bureaus, agencies, or different nonprofit organizations that also really do a lot of this really great work. So there's a chance to also build professional networking connections that, you know, personally really allow you to expand your portfolio, especially, you know, for future opportunities that may arise. Additionally, internal leadership pathways. So as I said before, I'm a lead consultant, and that is really just a, I guess, fancier way of saying just a Youth Catalyst team leadership position, which I'm able to meet with my other colleagues, help in provide guidance where that is fit, as long with, you know, some other things that are outside of the Youth Catalyst team, but more Youth Collaboratory as a whole. So again, there's a chance for you to follow your passions, I guess, and expand them as you see fit within and outside of the team, as well as a training and capacity building associate. And that is what Diamond is. So if you would like to expand on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, for sure. I've actually been promoted since that title, but that title is meant as a stepping point for those who are young people in general, but also specifically Youth Catalyst team and Girl Action Board members who would like to continue, one, working with Youth Collaboratory, but doing so as a staff role. So this is typically a full-time position, though we are thinking about other part-time structures that may work. And it is used to help launch individuals who, again, would like to stay with Youth Collaboratory, but also would like to continue their work in the youth services field on a national basis with the organization as well. So a lot of the skills that you develop, learn, enhance, and improve while a Youth Catalyst team member are optimized in this position and role. And then after that role, if you continue to develop, there are even more promotional opportunities to become a manager, as an example. Daisha has also held this role. So if you would like to add anything additional, Daisha, would love to hear your thoughts.
Oh, I think you captured it really well. So I'm not going to add any more thoughts to it, but I think you really captured it really well.
Awesome. Thank you, Diamond. And lastly, this is a reciprocal learning opportunity. So you are encouraged to take on projects that further your learning, as well as projects that you have knowledge in. And really, while we're learning from you, this also serves as a learning opportunity. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Maria, for sharing all of that. So earlier I mentioned that the Youth Catalyst team members are consultants. This is distinctly different from an employee. So things that you need to know about being a consultant. There are the great benefits of being able to make your own schedule. A lot of our Youth Catalyst team members also have other jobs, are strong advocates within their community, are on youth action boards, go to school part or full time. So being able to make your own schedule and also work your schedule around the other things that you have as priority is a really great benefit of being a consultant. This consultancy is also project-based. So Youth Catalyst team members are guaranteed a 6-hour minimum commitment from Youth Collaboratory a month. The rate for that pay is $40 an hour, but there are tons of opportunities to make more money and also to express your skills in other areas. So as Maria said, we do this by projects. There are lots of different projects. For example, me and several Youth Catalyst team members worked on a mental health webinar as a project that will be distributed nationally, hopefully this year. There are also opportunities to do research, develop resources, as well as create your own projects. One Youth Catalyst team member felt really strongly about having a YYA roundtable surrounding mental and relational health. So that is in development and will be disseminated this year with other young people, and it's even thinking about expanding. So though there are several opportunities to create more time, and at the same time, there's more work to be done that isn't even project related. So Youth Collaboratory really works hard to involve young people in all elements of the work, including the organization. So what that looks like or can look like is assisting on interviews to make sure that the staff members that we are hiring are youth and young adult focused, centered, and oriented. And also providing feedback on strategy sessions with staff members to ensure that funding sources that we're going on are in alignment with our values. So there are multiple ways and areas in which the Youth Catalyst team and GAB members assist Youth Collaboratory and support them in going the progressive and right direction that best benefits the young people that are being supported by the organization. A different thing that is from being a staff member and a consultant is the rate at which consultants are paid. As I mentioned, it's $48 an hour. The reason for such a high rate is because consultants do not receive benefits such as medical, dental, or vision or insurance. So that high rate is used to offset some of those things that you may be investing in for yourself and your family. It's also a different payment timeline. So we have an invoicing process, which is extensive. I can't explain it in the time that I have with you today, but we'll be able to during the interview process. For those who would like to know more, you can also email if you distinctly want to know. But basically, Youth Catalyst team members are responsible to track all the hours that they work within a monthly time frame and then submit that track document to myself, Daisha, or another manager in order to ensure that you're paid on a monthly basis. This is different than maybe a biweekly or a weekly payment that you would receive as an employee. Taxes are also not taken out. So again, that higher rate is to accommodate for those things. So you would be considered an independent contractor, a 1099 employee. I'm not a tax expert, so I can't tell you everything that means. But I do encourage you to look into what it does mean to be considered an independent contractor or self-employed. That is a very strong distinction. And then there are just some certain skills that are required for consultants that have this sort of structured work. There's a lot of self-discipline that's necessary to make sure that you're meeting your schedule and appointments and things that you have set for yourself in a timely manner that don't conflict with some of your other priorities. And then I do want to note that Youth Collaboratory is federally funded. This is a large portion of where funds for the Youth Catalyst team comes from. So the Family and Youth Services Bureau is a strong funder, as well as the Office of Victims Crime, OVC, and OJJDP, which is a lot of words that I can't remember all of them. So Daisha, please help me. But those, we work closely with federal funders. So the relationship building piece with them is very important. So that way we have mutual trust between our Youth Catalyst team members as well as the federal government and the people who we closely work with within the government. Maria, Daisha, anything that I missed or that you would like to highlight at this time?
Not on my end. I would like to lift up Sam Webb's comment in the chat.
Okay, perfect. So thank you, Sam, for bringing up that comment. And I'll also just open the floor to anyone who would like to come off mute or on camera to ask any questions. I'll pause here as well. And Sam, working in other systems that work towards ending goals wouldn't be an issue with YCT. Sam, can you provide me with a little bit more clarity on your question? What do you mean by other systems?
Just because like I work with my local like hometown youth action board, things like that. So working with those types of community-based partnerships, would that be a problem working with the Youth Catalyst team?
No, not at all. We actually have several members who are very keystone people in their local communities, such as Kiona, who does a lot of work with the Tucson YHDP and YAB. And we encourage that. Your connection with your community helps us become a better organization, a better and stronger team, because you're able to say, hey, you know, we aren't necessarily doing a lot of work on harm reduction. And that is something that's really popular and a resource needed. Like, can we do that? And so people working within their local communities allows us to bring things to the field that we may not have seen if we didn't have the individuals with that insight and perspective. Kiona, I see your hand, so I'll pause for you to say what you would like.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, it is pretty chill, like working with Youth Collaboratory and like also doing my local. youth activism on top of my other contracts that I have regarding youth homelessness. The main thing is just mainly like juggling schedules and making sure you're not taking on too much workload. But I am co-chair of my youth action committee and my community, and it's pretty easy. There's not any big commitments you have to make. It's more just about time management and what you can take on, you know.
Great, I appreciate that input. Thank you, guys.
Natasha, feel free to come off mute.
Thank you. I'm actually on here because I was referred for my son, and I want to know about the whole program in itself. But for me, I've worked with youth, juvenile as a case manager. I've worked with Department of Juvenile Justice for a while, Florida. So I just wanted to know, am I able to, I heard the question before, but I just want to make sure, get clarification. Is this program something I can refer to Department of Juvenile Justice here in Florida, as well as Handy? Handy is an organization that works with families and youth that is in the, I would say, in the system, as far as being then Department of Children and Family System. They are too old to be adopted or enter a foster home type of situation. So I just wanted to know if I wanted to reference this program and let other individuals know within the community, am I able to do so?
Yes, of course. And you can also send me your email, or Daisha or Maria, and we can send you some of like the flyers and informational pieces that lets you and the young person know exactly the folks that we're trying to look for. This is an opportunity dedicated to folks 18 to 24. We do have a lot of individuals who have child welfare experience as well as juvenile justice experience, and are always looking to expand our sources of knowledge and information. So yes, we would appreciate that encouragement for them to apply. Applications are due January 31st.
Okay, I will send you. Yes, because a lot of the youth with Handy, they start off early, but they also assist kids that have aged out the foster care system, looking for something to do. So they help them with housing. And the Juvenile Justice Department, the part that I know is Comments to Boys, they assist the males trying to get on their feet. So I would definitely send you an email so that way I can get the information and forward it to those two organizations that are helping individuals that have aged out of the system or that's part of the juvenile justice system up until the age 21.
Awesome, thank you so much. And then just a key point I want to know, the Youth Catalyst Team and Girls Action Board is not a program. So there aren't requirements associated with being a team member. We do have a contracting process, but it's a payment opportunity. So it's a contractual agreement between Youth Collaboratory and the individual consultants. So folks who do participate don't necessarily have to meet any requirements that they may have when considering the difference between a program. And it is paid up for it. Yeah, so just want to make sure that that's clear. And when you share the information, that folks don't necessarily feel like they have to meet any program requirements that comes along with that language.
Okay, so far, based on the information, it's pretty much like a job, an independent job.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Okay, so I'll let them know. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for being willing to share about us. Any other questions about consultancies before we move on? All right, can we move to the next slide, please? So just a little bit about the time commitment for Youth Collaboratory. As I said, there is a minimum of 6 hours per month. This is broken down by biweekly meetings that are typically an average of 2 hours per month, as well as individual monthly check-in with myself, Daisha, or Maria, as well as our expanding youth leadership team. We do account for emails, which is abnormal for consultancies to pay for email hours, but we do want to show people that we are invested and respect their time. So we do offer payment for emails, estimated at 1 hour per month. And then those projects that myself and Maria and Daisha were talking about earlier also offer you the opportunity to work and receive additional money and payment. I know one person who I met with last week who was doing 6 different projects in their busy schedule. So there is a ton of opportunity to work and continue to do more. This looks a little bit different for our GAB team members, so I'll hand it to Daisha to expand a little bit about that.
Yeah, I just want to add on, I think for as far as the 6-hour minimum commitment per month, excluding with the YCT biweekly meetings, on the off weeks of those meetings are our GAB biweekly meetings. So those biweekly meetings start to look like a little bit more hours when it comes to the GAB work. The only difference is that it makes the biweekly YCT meetings kind of optional, but that's more to explain with the GAB work once we get to that. I don't want to confuse anybody with that right now. But anything else is literally the same as Diamond just mentioned. The next slide.
Right.
I'm sorry, Diamond.
No, you're all good. So we'll move to the next slide and share a little bit about some of those projects that we were talking about.
Can I add a little? Sorry,
For
I
sure.
didn't realize moving on. I just wanted to also emphasize from again, like one of the consultant perspectives as a non-staff individual, that it's really important to be as transparent as you can about the amount of hours that you have, especially a lot of us are in school as well. So emailing Diamond and Daisha, like, I have finals this week and then I have, all this other stuff. So just really keeping that communication clear, because it just makes a lot of things easier, not only for yourself, but for the team and how we function and so forth. So it is fluid, like these hours on the, on here, it says 6 hours and they're always changing. But just wanted to emphasize that because it's been really helpful.
Thank you for bringing up that point, Maria. And I also want to say that we understand how this is structured. So there should not be a sense of tension or hesitancy to say like, hey, my capacity is non-existent or my capacity is open. We are used to fluctuating capacity. We encourage clear transparency and communication, and don't feel as well that if your capacity is low for mental health, like that should not be something that is taboo. Like, please tell us, like, mentally, I am unable to work at the rate or the amount that I have been. Like, name that, because we want to, one, like, support you in whatever challenges you may be experiencing, but also, like, we are gracious people because we would like grace as well. So please know that whatever the reason your capacity is, and no, you do not have to share. We just like open and authentic, transparent communication. And that is a part of like this reciprocal relationship building.
Mm-hmm. So we can go to the next slide. So here we kind of want to open up this space and talk for our YCT and our GAB members in here to talk about some of their examples or their personal experiences. I do want to say before we get into those, explaining a little bit more about our GAB and how that came to be. Back in 2020, there was this thought, as Diamond mentioned in the beginning, how We work across different sectors of the work, and one of them is our liberation team. And we focus on relationship violence, addressing the complexity of sex trafficking with minors, also prevention and intervention efforts. And we do this through our TA with our youth services field. So we noticed there was a gap in the field, that Black girls were disproportionately represented in trafficking. They were disproportionately affected by trafficking, and there wasn't a lot of talk with that. So we applied for this grant, and you've heard it throw this around a lot of our Office of Victims of Crime, our OVC work. And at 2021, this thought actually became funded, and that's what bloomed our Girls Action Board. In order to properly address some of those issues and approaches, we wanted to tap into the experts. And I know when this grant was even thought of, I was a YCT member myself. So when it came to Florida and I actually got to do the work in my associate manager role, it's just been amazing how I've seen the work kind of move and grow throughout the field. And how we began doing this work is through our OVC work. And we began working with 6 communities, which is formed into 6 more communities, which this is our 3rd cohort. And we do this through like a learning collaborative, and we do this through trainings, and we do this through technical assistance that we provide to the organization. So at this time, I want to open up to the floor, just to some of our GAB members that are in this room, just speaking to some of those experiences that they've had within the team, and then pass it back to Diamond, and then we'll do the YCT and how they both connect with each other.
Hi, I'm Michaela. I'm from New Haven, Connecticut. I'm a student at UConn. I'm also a GAB team member. And my experience on the GAB team has been wonderful. I was saying last time that I feel like I've grown so much due to the GAB team. I'm around a bunch of young women that have really empowered me to show up as my most authentic self and help me overcome imposter syndrome. Some of the most important projects that I've been a part of is our interview series. And I was one of the 2 interviewers from the GAB team that led this project. And the series served as a way to build community while highlighting featured organizations. And the organization that we had highlighted was the Mentoring Center, where we had a time to build community and have like a really organic conversation with the organization. And it turned out some of the people in the organization were actually from New Haven, Connecticut, and new people that I had known. So it was really great to build those cross connections and to hear about their shared stories about transformative interactions, their version of training and technical assistance, and their usage of emotional intelligence to find ways to interact with systems involved youth. Some of the other projects that I've been a part of is building a conversation guide. So in GAB, we draft intentional topics and questions to ensure that we get the most out of interviews. And additionally, due to my experience on the GAB team, myself and my co-GAB member, Martine, are having the privilege and honor to present at the National Mentoring Summit and bringing some of our learning series and our online webinars to the DC area to, present to the public. So it's been great. We've done a bunch of poems and videos that have compiled together to create a beautiful deliverable that we always like to highlight. And it's just been a really great environment. I've had time to write blogs and get involved in other projects that I would have had the opportunity to do so if I wasn't a part of the GAB or YCT team. So thank you.
Just to piggyback off of Michaela, I am her coworker, Martine, and I've also really enjoyed all the experiences that I've got to do with GAB. An introduction, my name is Martine Jones, and I am a YCT GAB consultant, and I'm based in Los Angeles, California, and I would like to acknowledge I'm on Tavanga land, and yes, like I was saying, I enjoyed all the experiences, especially the experiences that Michaela mentioned, because we've got to grow a great friendship together, and that's like one of the great, like that's another plus of like building capacity and working with other Black women and just like other and also like just the diversity of Black women and the intersectionality, like we're not a monolith. So that has been like just a great experience for me. And just like so much validation goes without, self-validation just goes like so naturally in this role. And I really am looking forward to even like the summit. Just traveling too is like something that I've never been on the East Coast. I've been in LA like my whole life. So that's really exciting. So different opportunities and different like growth is so important. And I think it's great that we have an opportunity where you're not only growing professionally in your career and learning, but also like personal development as well. And also just like career work. This was the first time I was able to apply like my skill set to sex trafficking and exploitation agendas and practices. And so like one of the experiences that I really enjoyed was doing was or not even but just I got to work with Deja and another staff member, Joy, and we were kind of correcting a toolkit for sex trafficking for high school. And it was just that opportunity was just so great for me to like apply my skill sets from working with system impacted youth, and then also have like a whole different perspective and applying it to sex trafficking. So you're just growing. There's just so much growth in this position, and I'm very grateful for it. So thank you, Michaela, just for like everything. And also thank you, Deja, for the opportunity.
Script here, but so Martine and Michaela, they both work within our YCT team and our GAB team. The GAB team is more the project focused work around sex trafficking, but they work throughout the whole YCT and they work across different focuses of the work there. But I definitely also want to open this up to the YCT members and experiences in the projects that they've got to work on as well too.
I can go first. So I found out about youth collaboratories, youth catalyst team through my transitional and independent living situation, like services and stuff. And I totally took a shot in the dark and was like, hey, I wonder what this is like. You know, I want to speak out against the system, you know, since I aged out. And I totally thought I was gonna bomb it and I wasn't gonna get the job or anything, because like I missed my interview 3 different times because I didn't know like time zone conversions, and I had to learn how to do that. And like Diamond was super chill and understanding about it, and she worked with me, and I thought that was super cool. And also like how, sorry, my son's eating lunch in the background, but I find it super cool and understanding that Youth Collaboratory is really compassionate about mental health, because like, you know, being a lived experience youth, I can't speak for everyone, but like not a lot of us have good relationships with their family, and like things tend to happen, or like if you're a youth transitioning out of services, trying to get services, things can happen, you know, life happens in general. Being a lived experience youth, it's kind of a bit harder for us, and Youth Collaboratory has been super heartfelt as well. And the honesty and accountability when discussing triggering topics is very heartfelt. Like I don't feel like bad for voicing my concerns or like speaking up about like a topic, because, you know, growing up in the system, it feels like you're being disrespectful when you're speaking out, you know, like this is kind of like a safe space where you can really openly speak your mind about topics that are real and are pressing, and you know, you get paid for it, you get heard, and like you're understood, and you're in community with other youth and other people who have had similar experiences and want to create change. And like being mixed, like my father's Black and Japanese and my mom's Mexican and German, so I grew up seeing a lot of different racial like prejudices and stereotypes and stuff, and not being seen as like a monolith or like someone to like gawk at and be like, oh, you're so different. You know, being in community with like people that like are as racially diverse as you or like have understanding is so welcoming. And I think that's one of the coolest things about working with youth collaboratories, is how down to earth everyone is. Thank you. And I'm sorry for my noisy baby.
The babies. I love the babies in the background. My babies, you'll hear them all the time. I used to joke when I first started, like, at this point, cut them a check because you're always going to hear them. So we always love to hear the babies. Anybody else? I know we're on time, but if anybody else wants to share, thank you so much for sharing. Martine, Kiona, Michaela.
Yeah, I can give a quick share. So I'm on the YCT team, and this is Bridget speaking. And I really like being able to consult and give my opinions on how to improve projects. But I also really enjoy the trainings that we have, and recently went through a racial equity series. And I think that a lot of the discussions and the materials that were presented were things that I'd never really had to look into very far before, and things that I'm also like that are uncomfortable to talk about in a general audience. So I think it's really great to be a part of this community because it opens my perspective, and it also gives me a voice. So thank you.
Yes, I love that. That was just said so beautifully, Bridget. Any last minute thoughts? If not, with time, because I know we have 5 minutes and I want to give us 6 minutes. I want to give some time for open it up for question. I would like to open up to the room if anybody has questions for us with the Still Diamond while she's here, because I know she has a hard stop. So do we have any questions? Questions, excitements, hopes?
Question specifically directed towards the YCT members that are currently here.
I'm just very interested, and I'm glad that I've like really gotten into this community now. So I'm just very interested, and I'm very much looking forward to progressing further with you guys and just getting to know you guys a little bit more. So I appreciate you guys for you know, having me here and letting me, you know, get to see into the world a little bit more. So I appreciate it.
I don't have any questions, but I think this is a really cool opportunity, and like I'm glad I'm here, and I'm already learning new things. So yeah, this is really cool.
Yes, thank y'all for that. I second that. We definitely appreciate each and every one of you who are here, who comes out, who wants to be a part of our team, who wants to learn more about our YCT and GAB team. So we appreciate y'all just as much. Stop. Go that way. Thank you. I see a question in the chat. How long have you guys been a part of YCT and GAB? I feel like this is something myself, Diamond, Maria, all of us can answer. I've been around since the beginning. I was around, I'm like an OG. I was around since when they first got started with the program, which is about the program. Ugh, why did I just say that? The consultant work. Ugh, like ew. Why did I just kind of shout out like word mommy. Ew, no, it's not a program. But y'all, it's been a warning. I can't even, okay, hold on, back focus. I've been with them, I think since 2008, 17, 2018, 17, something like that, when they first started their YCT.
I was a Youth Catalyst team member for a year, and then after that year, I transitioned into a staff role. So I think I've been with Youth Collaboratory 2 years now, maybe. You just lose track of time, you know, you start working with all sorts of people, and then you're like, oh, we've been friends for how long? And it seems like forever, but really it's probably like 5 or 6 months. Yeah, so I'm gonna say 2 years and lock that in.
Yes, and then shout out to OG Dash. I did not know she was in this room this whole time. She is also, she started back with me too, and Youth Catalyst team was just starting to think of like, hey, let's have some young people at the table. So I didn't even know you were in here. I can't see everybody for some odd reason.
Thank you for that question. Folks have to be 18 to 24 at time of application. So if you're 24 when you apply, you're good to go for a year. But if you are 25 when you apply, you cannot apply.
We do have our SME network too. If you're older than 20, what I say, 24, or you do age out, you still will be a part of our SME network or can be a part of our SME network. Subject matter experts.
That's a really great point. We have information about that too that we can send via email if you would like to drop your email to learn more about that. And I do want to take this opportunity because I don't think I mentioned it. The YCT contract is 1 year with the opportunity to renew if that is in alignment with what you would like and as well as what is happening with the team. The only time that a YCT member is moved to transition into our subject matter expert network is once they age out, but otherwise, the opportunity still arises for you to contract for an additional year or years, and in some folks' case, depending on when you join.
Yes, SME, our network is compensated as well too, but that's like, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that project based?
Yes, it is project based, and typically it is a flat rate instead of an hourly rate.
And for the SME, it's not necessarily an age out for that. Any last minute questions? Any last minute thoughts from any of our team, Maria, Diamond?
Just want to express more immense gratitude for your time and willingness to learn more about us. Please share this opportunity if you know other young people who would really enjoy and be interested. We'll be sharing the slide deck as well as a recording in the future to those who attended. So be on the lookout for that and feel free to pass it along.